For the Shang dynasty governed, the caste in which of the caste system it was like the king was the first, and following up was the nobles, and down to the nobles were the peasants, and the peasants were like slaves to the nobles, in which they had to do all the farm work, and that's how they would live. After the Shang dynasty came the Zhou dynasty, in which the Shang dynasty got overpowered by the Zhou dynasty, in which the Zhou dynasty came into control of northern China. They ruled from 1045 BCE to 256 BCE and were the longest dynasty to ever last in northern China. They introduced an idea in which the leader was demand orders from what the gods told them, and that's how they would be governed. The king divided lands into fiefs, in which the king relatives owned the land. Their nobles who owned the land made the lower class farmers to work on their land, just like the Shang dynasty. The Zhou dynasty came to an end when Qin army captured the city of Chengsu, and they killed the last emperor king now. The Qin dynasty followed a legalistic government in which every citizen would have to follow each law. The Qin dynasty, when the Qin leader died from causes, his children did not succeed him, in which they fell and was one of the shortest dynasties to ever be part of northern China. Hi, my name is Mohammed Hussein, and I'm the political scientist, and today I'll be talking about the three main dynasties who made up northern China. And the first dynasty was the Shang dynasty, and they were ruled by Shang Tang, who was the first king who founded the dynasty 600 BCE. Shang Tang governed his people with love and compassion and loved everybody. He lasted his empire for almost 500 years, and there was 9 kings. By the end of the Shang dynasty, they fell because the 10th dynasty fell because of family and control of power, and that came in which peasants came to overrule the Shang dynasty with its overpowering numbers of peasants and people.
The economic power of the Qin dynasty mostly derived mainly from the land and the natural resources they had. Because of the abolition of feudalism, serfs were allowed to own the land they worked and had to pay taxes. The public lands were managed by bureaucrats and worked by conscript labor. Also, the Qin dynasty maintained armies of forced labor who worked on public projects like roads, canals, and completing the Great Wall of China. The Qin dynasty was able to trade goods between different civilizations because of the Silk Road and canalways. The Silk Road was a major part of the trade for the Qin dynasty. They would trade items such as jade, spices, and later on silk.
I'm Jacob Bosak, and I'm going to be talking about the art. So they used terracotta clay as to make pottery and all their soldiers, and they used a specific type of clay named terracotta clay. And this clay was used for the terracotta warriors, which were warriors buried with the emperor to protect him in his afterlife, and for pottery because the pottery showed like their advances in technology. The art of the ancient Chinese was mostly on nature and the natural world rather than the people who inhabited it. So they thought of the nature because it was very important of them, and if you did anything to it, you could get in a lot of trouble.
I got it back. My name is Logan Jackson. I'm the geographer, and I will be telling you the geography of the Huanghe River Valley. They originally moved into this civilization when according to folk legend, that the Yellow Emperor at the time, Huang Di, defeated the Mao people, a tribe from the south, which enabled the people to settle in central Yellow River Valley. Now, the Huanghe River Valley, it's located in the eastern part of China. They settled there due to mountains in the west and deserts in the north. Along with isolation being one big factor, was the Yellow River. It was another. It was a source of fertile soil which was used for growing crops. Even though 10% of their land was only good for it, it did bring negatives like crucial floodings that could wipe out villages. And considering the Yellow River Valley is China's second largest river and the sixth largest in the world. The Huanghe River Valley is also known for carrying a lot of silk. The silk trade routes were a big accomplishment to the civilization, and with currency in China at the time was a big help to others to their success. South of China was the Bay of Bengal and South China Sea, while to the east of it was the East China Sea and the Yellow Sea. Now China, one thing was also known for was isolation of mountains in the west, which kept them at civilization points in the east. And another big thing was silk for China. That was a big accomplishment and important to the society, along with the silk trade trails. Now Huanghe River also have more than 30 branches of streams, so it would take out many local villages. And as it passes through many provinces, it would help much of the population growing crops.
After the Qin Dynasty overthrew the Zhou Dynasty, the Qin Dynasty started from 221 BCE to 206 BCE. It conquered the Zhou Dynasty with its massive army, and it was a central government in which the king was the owner of everything and had absolute power. He divided the country into 36 provinces, and each had 2 government officials would have 2 of those provinces. The Qin Dynasty had a power and very scary army in which they would destroy land and grab land. They fell when the Qin Dynasty's first emperor died and his son took to fame. Each dynasty started with the mandate of heaven. Each dynasty of the 3 would overthrow each other, and it came to which power was the stronger. Each dynasty of northern China started when each of the 3 threw each other off of power. Alright, my name is Mohammed, and today I'll be talking about the 3 dynasties of China. And they were the Shang, Qin, and Zhou dynasties. And Shang dynasty was organized by, or their social class was by special positions. For example, like the nobles were the second class below the king, and below the nobles were peasants who who worked on the nobles' land. And religion was to worship the Shang Di, who was the supreme god. The Shang Empire was a very important dynasty with 9 emperors. The dynasty flourished through 9 emperors. My name is Mohammed Hussein, and today I am the political scientist, and today I'll be talking about the 3 main dynasties that made up northern China: the Shang, the Zhou, and the Qin dynasties. And the first dynasty who started it all was the Shang. They were a group that came from 600 BCE and fell 1550 BCE. Their first ruler was Cheng Tang, and was a very harsh ruler. He was a very religious ruler who made everybody worship all the gods. Plus, the Shang dynasty was one of the first dynasties to change their governor. Dynasty was one of the Zhou dynasty came after when the Zhou dynasty defeated the Shang dynasty. The Zhou dynasty was ruled from 1450 BC to 256 BC, and they were governed based on the feudal system.
Also, we know that they had a system set up where the king had power over everyone, only if their gods were satisfied. But we also know that they could have overthrew their king in power. Ancient China, the priests would use oracle bones. Oracle bones is a system where they took the backs of turtles and put them in a fire, and the priest would interpret it. Cracks meaning. Okay, they would use these interpretations by the stuff that would happen in the kingdom. King Kuandi was the emperor that united all of China. After his death, he was buried in a large tomb. In his tomb, we discovered many clay warriors. Warriors were believed to protect them in the afterlife. Every one of them had very unique details, and they just made using a lot of time.
My name is Jacob Bosak, and we will be talking about the ancient Chinese architecture. Together with European and Arabian architecture, ancient Chinese architecture is an important component of the world architectural system. During its long development, it gradually formed into a style which featured timber work combining stone carving, rammed earth construction, bucket arch buildings, and many other techniques. Industrious Chinese laboring people created many architectural miracles such as the Great Wall, Forbidden City, and the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor. Features. The most significant characteristic is the use of timber framework. Paintings and carvings were added to the architectural work to make it more beautiful and attractive. Ancient Chinese buildings have a long history which can be traced back to the Shang dynasty. It has its own principles of structure and layout. Through the long development, many wonders have been created by industrious and clever laboring people. Ancient architectural miracles are innumerable ranges from the Great Wall, White Horse Temple, Megao Caves to Summer Palace and Forbidden City. Ancient Chinese architecture is mainly timber work. Wooden posts, beams, lintels, and joists makes up the framework of a house. Walls serve as a separation of rooms without bearing the weight of the whole house, which is unique to China. As a famous saying goes, Chinese houses will still stand when their walls collapse. The specialty of wood requires antisepsis methods to be adopted, thus develops into Chinese own architectural painting decoration. Colored glazed roofs, windows with exquisite applique design, and beautiful flower patterns on wooden pillars reflect the high level of the craftsman's handicraft and their rich imagination. The layout of a courtyard complex is also unique to China. The main structure is located on the central axis of a court, while less important structures are located to the left and right. The whole layout is symmetrical. Compared with European architectural style, which is open and shut, a courtyard is like a hand scroll of painting which should be unfolded little by little. The scenery is different in each courtyard. Even in moving several steps within the courtyard, you will be surprised at the changing of prospects. Likewise, from the interior of the buildings, the view from no two windows is the same. There are many different styles of ancient Chinese buildings. All of them are unique and equally exquisite. Some very important buildings of ancient China was the Forbidden City, the Summer Palace, the giant wild goose pagoda, the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor, the Qingling Mausoleum, the pagoda of Fagan Temple, 3 pagodas of Changchide, White Horse Temple, Shangdu Pagoda, Patua Shangchen Temple, Hall of Supreme Harmony, the Palace of Heavenly Purity, Mukden Palace, Badaling, Potala Palace, Fogdun Temple, Nachan Temple, Yage Temple, Yellow Crane Tower, Great Mosque of Qian, National Center for the Performing, Palace of Earthly Tranquility, Lu Pagoda, Zhou Mausoleum, Jinmao Tower, Hall of Union, Shanghai World Financial Center, Terracotta Army, Jade Buddha Temple, Chongqing Temple, Mutiyu, Baoan Temple, Puning Temple, Small Wild Goose Pagoda, Four Gates Pagoda, Pagoda of Shishu Temple, Tiang Temple, Imperial Ancestral Temple, Lang Temple, Old Summer Palace, Temple of the Six Banyan Trees, Luxwing Temple, Famine Temple, Gate of China of Beijing, Dongling Temple, Buji Temple, Iron Pagoda, Yogo Temple, Deshenmen, Gulu and Zalu, Great Wall of the People. Now, to the ancient architecture of the Chinese that I just read, you can obviously see that there are many different styles, but all of them were for the Chinese, and they all built them mostly by the slaves, and all of them, they were built in a very they all had like a kind of the same architecture, in which the edges of the roof, they were pointed up, and they looked and kind of reminds you of a gazebo. Most people in ancient China could not afford to live in fancy houses. They lived in small houses made of mud brick, with only one room and a dirt floor, just the way most people in the Roman Empire or West Asia or Africa lived, and the way most people in the world still live today. In northern China, the doors of these houses usually faced south to keep out the cold north wind. Rich people had fancier houses, and people also built fancy temples and palaces. All ancient Chinese architecture was built according to the strict rules of design that made Chinese buildings follow the ideas of Taoism or other Chinese philosophies. The first design idea was that buildings should be long and low rather than tall, and they should seem almost to be hugging you. The roof should be held up by columns and not by the walls. The roof should seem to be floating over the ground. The second design idea was symmetry. Both sides of the building should be the same, balanced just as Taoism emphasized balance. Even as early as the Shang Dynasty, about 1500 BC, Chinese buildings looked pretty much like this, with curved tile roofs and long rows of pillars. The palaces of the Zhou Dynasty and the Qin Dynasty continued in this same style.
Yo, look, put this on there, yo.
Do not.
Yo, add me, Cameron Jones 4, Snapchat, man, Instagram, Cameron Jones, man, you know what it is. Oh, snap. Oh, wait, I need to start. Oh, snap. I forgot. Oh, snap. Oh, wait. Oh, snap.
Imperior. They had an how you say it?
Emperor.
Imperior. How you say it?
Emperor.
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 That's a blooper.
Emperor.
That's the bad person.
Empirier. Can they go? Can Logan go? I really got it. I'm sorry. I have 9 emperors. Empirior had can I start over? And the Jacob go.
Emperor.
I don't want to say it.
Keep talking.
Can Jacob go?
Let's go. I want to go home. Go.
Okay,
Map. And then north of China is where the Yellow River is. Go. What's that paper that you had? Where's that paper? Where's the paper?
In my house. You know I'm on JV this year too. You come to the games. Show some love. Talk to me. Give me some.
I'm not saying Ching Xing Hong He.
The Ching Ching Chong D. Is that right?
Chong He Hong He. Ching Chong Chi He.
Bruh.
Ah.